for your incredible life of service and scholarship. What a scholar who has studied our founding principles. And along with your husband and your entire family, you have represented Wyoming and the United States of America extraordinarily well for many, many decades, and we are grateful. And I will confess I have a personal reason for gratitude above and beyond that of an American citizen just glad for patriots. It's a far more personal reason, which is that I met my wife Heidi on the 2000 Bush-Cheney campaign. We were one of 8 marriages that came out of that campaign. And so ever since, there's been a lousy joke I've told, which is whatever else anybody thinks of George W. Bush, in our house, he will always be a uniter and not a divider. I'm thrilled to be here with so many wonderful patriots at a time when our country is at such a moment of crisis. And I'm here today with a word of hope and encouragement. All across the country, people are waking up. This election, I believe, will focus on 3 critical issues: jobs, freedom, and security. Let's talk about jobs. You know, it's easy to talk about making America great again. You can even print that on a baseball cap. But the real question is, do you understand the principles and values that made America great in the first place? The heart of our economy is not Washington, D.C. The heart of our economy is small businesses all across the United States of America. And if you want to see the economy take off, you simply take the boot of the federal government to the back of the necks of small businesses. If I'm elected president, we will repeal every word of Obamacare. We're going to pass common sense health care reform that makes health insurance personal and portable and affordable and keeps government from getting in between us and our doctors. And we're going to pass a simple flat tax. Monday is tax day. In just a couple of years, everyone here is going to be able to fill out our taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. And we're going to rein in the EPA. And the federal regulators who have descended like locusts on farmers and ranchers and small businesses, killing jobs all across this country. You know, a few years back, I was out in West Texas. And I asked folks there, I said, what's the difference between regulators and locusts? I said, well, the thing is, you can't use pesticide on the regulators. And this old West Texas farmer, he leaned back, said, "Want to bet?" We've seen for 7 years a war on coal. Barack Obama promised, if he got elected, that he would bankrupt every coal-fired plant in America. And that may be the only campaign promise that he's coming awfully close to meeting. That is fundamentally wrong, and it is immoral. And by the way, Hillary Clinton promises if she's elected, she's going to finish the task and bankrupt anyone associated with coal. I give you my word right now, we are going to lift the federal regulators back. We are going to end the war on coal. America is the Saudi Arabia of coal, and we are going to develop our resources and bring jobs back. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was at a campaign event in West Virginia with several hundred coal miners. Person after person I had the opportunity to shake hands with, to look at them, to look them in the eyes. And person after person, what they just said was real simple. They just said, help me. My entire life, my family is under assault from the federal government. This is wrong in the United States of America. We are blessed with unbelievable energy resources: coal, oil, gas, wind, nuclear, solar, ethanol, biofuels, all of them. We ought to develop all of them, and that's millions of jobs for Americans without knuckleheads from Washington stopping it. And when it comes to federal land, why on earth is the federal government the largest landlord in the United States of America? Listen, in my home state of Texas, the federal government owns about 2% of the land. We think that's 2% too much. And as president, I will lead the effort to return the federal land in the West to the states and to the people. You know, you have to go back to Ronald Reagan to find the last Secretary of the Interior from the West. It strikes me it's high time for that to change. And we're going to stop amnesty. We're going to secure the borders. We're going to end sanctuary cities, and we're going to end welfare benefits for those here illegally. And the effect of all of that is we're going to see millions and millions of new high-paying jobs. We're going to see jobs coming back to America, coming back from China, coming back from Mexico. We're going to see wages rising again. We're going to see young people coming out of school filled with hopes and dreams and 2, 3, 4, 5 job offers. We'll see morning in America again. That's what this election is about. The second critical issue this election's about is freedom. You know, just a few weeks ago, the passing of Justice Scalia really underscored the stakes of this election. It's not just one, but 2 branches of government that hang in the balance, because we are one liberal justice away from a radical 5-justice left-wing majority that would undermine religious liberty, that would try to take away the Second Amendment, that would give away U.S. sovereignty to the World Court and the United Nations. Now, you know, a couple of debates ago, Hugh Hewitt asked all of us about the Supreme Court and religious liberty. And Donald Trump turned to me. Donald said, Ted, I've known a lot more politicians than you have. Well, in that, he is clearly correct. Donald Trump has been supporting liberal Democratic politicians for 40 years. I have no experience with that. But Donald continued, he said, Ted, when it comes to the Supreme Court, when it comes to religious liberty, you got to learn to compromise. You got to learn to cut deals with the Democrats and go along to get along. Well, let me be very, very clear to the men and women of Wyoming. I will not compromise away your religious liberty. And I will not compromise away your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. I'm pretty sure here in Wyoming, y'all define gun control the same way we do in Texas. Hitting what you aim at. The third critical issue in this election is security. For 7 years, we've had a president who abandons and alienates our friends and allies and shows weakness and appeasement to our enemies. Again, 2 debates ago, Donald Trump explained if he were president, he would be neutral. between Israel and the Palestinians. Well, let me be very, very clear with you today. As president, I will not be neutral. America will stand unapologetically with the nation of Israel. For 7 years, we've seen our military weakened, our military undermined. And you know, as a country, we've seen this before. We've seen another left-wing Democratic president, Jimmy Carter, weaken and undermine the military. And then in January 1981, Ronald Reagan came into office. And what did Reagan do? Reagan cut taxes. He lifted regulations. We saw millions and millions of new high-paying jobs. That generated trillions in new federal revenue, and he used that revenue to rebuild the military, and we bankrupted the Soviet Union and won the Cold War. I intend to do the exact same thing with radical Islamic terrorism. We're going to repeal Obamacare, pass a flat tax, rein in the regulators, stop amnesty. That's going to produce millions and millions of new high-paying jobs. It's going to raise wages all across this country. That's going to generate trillions in new federal revenue, and we will use that revenue to rebuild our military so it remains the mightiest fighting force on the face of the planet. No longer will our military be governed by political correctness. We will not weaken and we will not undermine ISIS. We will utterly and completely destroy them. This political process has been an interesting ride. We started out with 17 candidates, an amazing, fantastic, diverse, young, talented field. But the primary's done its job. It's narrowed the field. As we stand here today, there are two and only two candidates who have any plausible path at winning the Republican nomination. Me and Donald Trump. And what we are seeing happening in Wyoming and across the country is we're seeing the party uniting. We have got to unite. We've got to come together and stand as one. Of the 17 candidates who began this race, 5 have endorsed our campaign. We've been endorsed by Rick Perry, by Lindsey Graham, by Jeb Bush, by Scott Walker, and by Carly Fiorina. When you add to that mix Senator Mike Lee and Glenn Beck and Mark Levin, you've got the entire spectrum of the Republican Party coming together and unifying. And let me tell you, the state of Wyoming right now, the entire country, its eyes are on this state, on the people here. And the people here have an opportunity. We've got a slate of delegates who are committed to supporting me in Cleveland. We're in all likelihood going to have a battle in Cleveland to determine who the nominee is. I want to ask each and every one of you, if you don't want to see Donald Trump as the nominee, if you don't want to hand the general election to Hillary Clinton, which is what a Trump nomination does, then I ask you to please support the men and women on this slate. If we stand together united, if we come together behind shared principles, look at the values we're fighting for: jobs, freedom, security. None of those is a narrow 51% wedge issue. Every one of those is a broad, unifying principle that cuts across 60, 70, 80% of Americans. We all want to see jobs coming back. We all want to see the Bill of Rights protected. We all want to keep our children safe. That's what this election is about. And so I ask each and every one of you, if we come together and unite, we will win this nomination. And if we come together and unite, we will win the general election, we will beat Hillary Clinton, and we will turn this country around. We will get the federal government off of our backs, and we will bring back freedom and opportunity for every American. Thank you, and God bless you.